Welcome to my channel. Today we will be talking about the reduce function on arrays, right? So the reduce function is a very handy tool for when you have a list of something and you want to reduce them, like the method name itself. You want to reduce it to, like, for example, one big object or one value. Let's say you have a list of numbers and you want to count them all and see the total, or that's one example. And I'll show you a quick example first, right? And then we can go through a more complex use case, okay? So we'll define our array and we'll take the simplest possible example, right? The standard with 5 numbers, okay? So on the array itself here, we can scroll down and see there is a built-in method called reduce. And it will return a brand new array object value. We have full freedom to exactly define the logic, right? So we can save the result in a result variable and then print it out. So I'll just set it up now. And that logic that we will be defining will be a function, right? And it needs to be passed here. The reduce expects a function, just like the error message here. If I pass in a number, it says 5 is not a function, right? So we need to create a function, just like filter and map. So let's do that. And we could sum all the numbers up, right? So we could create a function so this reduce will sum the whole array, all the values, and return the total, okay? So we create our function here. And so how does this work? Well, I'll pass the function name here. So, and not executing it, only the name, right? So the reduce, it expects a function, and then often it's not necessary, but an initial value. So what should we start with? And I'll enter 0 here because we want to start with 0 and then we want to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? And like in the filter and map method, it accepts an element, right? And then we have access to the element. So the first time it's 1, the next time element is 2, the next time it's 3, and we can check the value and do something depending on that. Now we get 2 inputs, right? Often it's referred to acc and cur. So the accumulator and the current value. And the accumulator, it's the name. I don't know if that tells anyone something, but we can call it total, for example. So the first time total will be 0 and current will be 1. And the next time current will be 2. The next time current will be 3. The next time current will be 4. And we have full control here to save some values to total and build it up, you know. I can show you an example here. If we just log them out, right? We don't do anything. We just log them out. So you can see the first time we set our starting point, the total, right, will be 0. So the first time total is 0 and current will be the current value 1. So there's 0 and 1. The next time we don't do anything with total, we don't save anything to it, right? So it will be lost. So then we only have access to the current numbers, right? And the result, the last row, is nothing, right? We don't do anything with the total, because the total, that is the one that will be returned in the end. So it's a little bit, yeah, maybe not super clear even now, but we will work with this in this tutorial, and I'm sure you will understand it when we're done. So to sum them up, I would like to, we need to save the value to total. So we can say that the first time we said total was 0, current was 1, and we want to add the 1 to the total. Next we want to add a 2 to the total, 3 to the total, and so on, okay? So total equals, and it will be itself, what total is, plus the current value, right? And then we're not done here yet. We have to do one more thing. We have to return total. So this means that we will save it until next round. So, and here we go, right? We got our answer, it's 15. So 1 plus 2 plus 3, it will all be equal to 15. So this one works. And we could always add logout again just to see the process. Maybe one step behind here, I guess. So the first time we said the total will be 0 and the current number is 1, right? The next time total is 1 because we added current to the total. So total is 1 and the current value is 2. And then we add the 2 to our total, so total should be 3. And total is 3 the next time. And the current value is 3. So this is how it works. The current value will be each element one by one throughout the whole array. And the total, we have full control to do whatever we want. Maybe we don't want to add the total if a number is above. Let's say we could add an if check here, right? So if the current value is above 3, then we could add it. Otherwise, ignore all the low numbers, so 1, 2, 3, okay? And here we go, right? It didn't add the 1 to the 0 to our total. It didn't add a 2 to our total. It didn't add 3 to our total. When we reached 4, we got into this block and it added it to the total. And the last element, when we looked at it, it qualified for that if statement, so we added it to the total, and then we print out the 9. Okay, so this is how it works. Now we look at a little bit more complex example, because often we don't have lists with only numbers, right? Usually we have lists with objects that we have fetched, like a JSON or something. Let's say from a database or like that. And yeah, so let's define it. And I thought the example array could be an array of some statistics from a game, like an arcade game, right? So each time you try to beat the game, it will save an object of which level you got to. So let's say level 4, how many kills you got. We say 56. And yeah, it's okay with this one, right? I'll add a few ones here. So the first time, let's say 1, 3, 2, 4, 2, and I'll just change them up to like this. Okay, so what I want to do, I want to use the reduce function here, because let's say the task is to show total amount of kills and highest level, and it should be presented in an object like this. So highest level should be, yeah, I don't know, example 3, and total kills should be like. So we have this array and we need to convert it to something like this model, right? And now reduce is a perfect example of that. So I'll just set it up, the result, and it's array, and no, not map, reduce, like this, and then we will print, oh, it's not Python, console log result. Okay, just set up the boilerplate here. And we need to create this function with the logic and our starting, the total, or what we'll call the starting point, right? So what should the starting point be? I mean, should it be 0? Should it be a string? Should it be something that we look on the array? No, we shouldn't look at the array, right? We don't know how this will be. We only know this model, right? So our starting point could be this object, right? And we could set highest level to be 0 as a start and total kills to be 0, okay? So we'll work with this one and we will increment the highest level and add the total kills depending on, yeah, you know. And here we need to pass our function. So what should we call this function? I don't know, if we call it reducer, right? I don't know if it's a good name. So and as you remember, we have access to the total and the current object. Some people, yeah, let's use this terminology, right? Because you will see this more ahead, and this will make more sense to other programmers as well when they look at your code. So how should we start? What we know is that the accumulator, the first time, if we go this one by one, will be this object, right? And the current, the first time, will be this one. And how should the logic be? Well, what we know is that the kills, we should always add them to the total kills. No checks there, no logic there, just add them. So that one is kind of easy, right? So we take our accumulator, which means this object, dot total kills, and that will be equal to ourself, ack.total kills, plus the current object, so this one, dot kills. Okay. And then we will return it. So if we now look at our result, this is our result. So it has successfully added all the total kills. We have the perfect model like this one here. So this wasn't super hard, right? The next step is to set this highest level that we have reached. So the highest level is always set to 0 from the start. So if we want to change it, we set ack.highest level will be equal to the current object dot level, right? But you see, it's wrong, right? We cannot just set it to the highest level. When we reach 4, it will be good. The next time the level is 2, we overwrite it with 2. So we only want to execute this level, this row here, if the current level is greater than our so far highest level. So we need to wrap this in an if statement. So if current object dot level property is greater than our accumulator highest level, then we want to execute this row, okay? So, and now this looks good, right? And the cool thing with this one is if we keep adding, you know, keep playing this game, it will just count everything up when we reach a new high score, let's say level 7. It will successfully remember that. So yeah, this is a little bit better use case than all the standard arrays with a few numbers in it. And yeah, it's super handy for this case, and it's often when you have a list of huge objects and you want to see the total or something, or build one object and fill it up with information from each row. And so yeah, so this is it. I hope I could help some of you, and I hope you understood this my tutorial. And yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.